The Lincoln Project salutes Vice President Donald Trump.
Well, folks, a happy Friday it is indeed, because as Harvey Dent once wisely said before living long enough to see himself become the villain,
"The night is darkest just before the dawn, and I promise you, the dawn is coming."
Yes, just like Trump, that dawn is coming.
I'm gonna come.
And we finally caught a glimpse of it, though still far off today, from a brand new Lincoln Project ad that absolutely humiliated Donald Trump and his butt buddy billionaire Elon Musk. And with the election over and political ads being few and far between, this Lincoln Project spot is a brief respite, a campfire in the midst of the cold, dark, grim winter starting to settle in for the long haul.
Winter's coming.
So sit down, gather round, drop a like and subscribe while you warm your hands on the fire, and let's rekindle our hearts and souls ever so slightly with a warm helping of roasted Trump. Now, I have the main course coming up for you in just a second here, but for some quick context, let's start with the appetizer that sets the stage for why Donald Trump is being saluted as the vice president in this hilarious spot of humiliation, which is namely oligarch and guy who would rather artificially inseminate you than waste time on actually having sex, Elon Musk, taking his rightful place in American politics as the true despot puppet master with his hand up Trump's ass.
Where are you on this?
We had many weeks of negotiation with the Republicans. We arrived at a bipartisan legislative compromise. The Senate Democrats, the Senate Republicans, the House Democrats, the House Republicans, everybody agreed. And then it was blown up by Elon Musk, who apparently has become the fourth branch of government. And that's just an intolerable way of proceeding under representative democracy. So who is our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, supposed to negotiate with? Is it Mike Johnson? Is he the Speaker of the House? Or is it Donald Trump? Or is it Elon Musk? Or is it somebody else? So we got to try to figure out how to salvage some kind of public interest out of the wreckage that they've just put upon us. Thanks.
It was a Republican drafted bill that was posted by House Republicans. And then one or two puppet masters weigh in, and the extreme MAGA Republicans decide to do the bidding of the wealthy, the well-off, the well-connected, millionaires and billionaires, not working class people all across America.
That's right. Republicans shut down the bipartisan spending bill agreement that would have avoided a government shutdown, courtesy of a tweet from their new king, Elon Musk.
"Your currency in this institution is your word. We reached an agreement. We came to modest achievements. And a tweet changed all of it? Can you imagine what the next 2 years are going to be like if every time the Congress works its will and then there's a tweet or from an individual who has no official portfolio, who threatens members on the Republican side with a primary, and they succumb? This institution has a separate responsibility based upon the separation of powers."
So that's really all the context you need for now, and I'll play a lot more of Democrats bashing the two of them after this, but let's jump into this brutal advertisement.
The Lincoln Project salutes Vice President Donald Trump. As Vice President, Trump will finally have the time to do the things that make him happiest. Talk about old movies, playing on his phone, admiring the assets of other men. Meanwhile, President Musk can get down to the business of running the country. We at the Lincoln Project are confident that Donald Trump understands his position. Elon is smarter, wealthier, more charismatic, has a far superior and more successful social media platform and company, is more successful with women, and a better dancer. As President Musk and his assistant J.D. Vance select appointees and write policies, we feel certain Trump will play his part because he's a good boy. Who's a good boy? Trump's a good boy.
Oh, how I've missed these advertisements so. And while every ounce of that humiliating satirical supper was true, though I wouldn't call Twitter very successful anymore, the humiliation did not stop there. Because as you saw earlier, Democrats were tearing the two apart on their own accord for essentially shutting down the government at the behest of a billionaire.
And wildfires all across America, we reached a bipartisan agreement to be there for farmers and families, children, seniors, working class Americans all across the country, the men and women who serve this country in uniform and our veterans. House Republicans have abandoned that bipartisan agreement that we entered into in good faith. a bill that House Republicans negotiated, gave us your word that we were going to move forward together on behalf of the American people. And the extreme MAGA Republicans decide to do the bidding of the wealthy, the well-off, the well-connected, millionaires and billionaires, not working-class people.
Jeffries goes on to rightly point out that Republicans, rather than fund the government, would prefer to give massive tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires.
Unless we, as representatives of the American people, bend to the will of just a handful of millionaires and billionaires, because the provisions in this bill, particularly as it relates to suspending the debt ceiling for 2 years, are designed to bring about a massive tax cut, unpaid for wealthy donors and for wealthy corporations, for millionaires and billionaires who clearly some in this Congress are working for.
Then doubling down after talking about how Democrats have historically reduced the national debt, pointing out how Republicans and their GOP tax scam have, of course, continued to explode the debt under their watch.
And then Donald Trump comes to office and again follows the same exact playbook. After failing to take health care away from millions of Americans, the Republicans turn their attention to the GOP tax scam, where 83% of the benefits went to the wealthiest 1%. Why? To subsidize the lifestyles of the rich and shameless. And in the process of doing that, borrow $2.3 trillion added to our debt, explode the deficit, so-called party of fiscal responsibility.
But as we all know, responsibility is not a word in the Republican vocabulary, and Representative Jared Moskowitz was quick to point that out by also brutally humiliating Republicans and telling them to put their big boy pants on.
You know, denial is not just a river in Egypt. Let's talk about the last 2 years. It was the Democrats who raised the debt ceiling, not the Republicans last time. Many of you voted against it. It was the Democrats who kept over the government, not once, not twice, but every single time we needed to keep the government open, it was the Democrats who kept the government open. More of us voted for it than you. And all I've heard for the last couple of weeks about it, this giant mandate, landslide, trifecta. Put on your big boy pants, pass your own bill. We're only here because you guys can't agree amongst yourselves. So hold on a second. Democrats will keep government open for the American people. We will mediate the disagreements between that side of the room and that side of the room. We will do that for you, but you got to at least invite us to that meeting. So if you want us to solve your problem because you can't agree amongst yourselves, reach out. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Time has expired. The general.
So God knows if Republicans will ever get their shit together and figure out how to put on their big boy pants and take responsibility for the government that they are about to be fully in control of. God protect us all. But I don't think they will, and I think that will be their undoing as more and more maggots start to get the frickin' message that they're getting screwed by wealthy billionaires, the same elitist class that they think are eating babies in a basement of a pizza joint. They are going to be forced to reckon with the fact that they're voting themselves into early graves. Also, Elon Musk can shove his hand up Trump's rectum and trickle up all of their dwindling wealth into his own pockets. So if you appreciate that kind of crap being called out, and the culprits being ridiculed for it, and roasted and made out to be the fools they actually are, please consider dropping a like, subscribing to the channel, and supporting the Really American channel. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse, and I'll see you all in the next one.